What is going on, my peeps? Welcome back to a kind of sporadic middle of the week video. So for this oh, you're wondering about my sweatshirt, where I got it, and where you could get yours? It's in the top line of the description. It's the David Seymour store. Go click on the link and check out the stuff. I always feel so filthy doing self-promo at the beginning of a video like that. Ugh. But anyways, today I am doing Geometric Pies Part 2. If you guys were around last year, around this time, I made the Part 1. It's just to give you some extra ideas on how to change up your pie game for the holidays. Now obviously the inspiration from this for Buzzfeed and myself comes from the Instagram page Loco Kitchen, which posts a ton of really interesting and difficult designs for pies. Today I'm picking out two to get some inspiration from. This one with just like a bunch of shapes punched in the top because I think that'll be somewhat easy. And then this one, a mosaic of some sort, which I can already sense is gonna take me hours to complete. I have seen a few comments and I've gotten a few tweets asking me to do this video, this part 2, so thank you to those of you who have. So let's get right into it. So guys, if you have watched any video of mine in the past 2 years that involve pies or pie crusts, you would know where I'm going with this. This recipe is the Katy Perry cherry pie crust. It's super easy. If you forgot some pie crust at the store or you just don't want to eat doughy chemicals, I suggest you give this a try. The only key here is to keep the butter as cold as possible. That way you will get that flaky layers of butter when it melts out in the oven, kind of like the same concept as a croissant. But like I said, it's just really easy, and once you've got them into discs like this, I just popped it in the fridge, and in the meantime we're gonna start working on the actual pie fillings. Not just like last year, and every time I make pies, you have to do an apple pie. Come on, it's my favorite pie. It's the best pie ever created, in my opinion. Typically it is better to use a variety of apples in your pie. That way some will get a little bit softer, some will stay more firm, some will be sweeter. You get the point. Unfortunately today, all I have are these Granny Smiths to work with. I spent some time peeling them all, then coring them, trying to remove any extra little hard bits in the middle of these pieces. And now for the most pivotal part, the most specific measurements. Just throw a bunch of stuff in the bowl with your apples, cinnamon, brown sugar, normal sugar, lemon juice, kind of like any food related video Logan Paul has ever made ever. As my grandma always says, you can never have too much cinnamon and sugar, and this is looking good, so let's prepare the crust. A word of advice, if you take your pie crust out of the fridge and this happens, just give it some time at room temperature. It'll eventually warm up a little bit and you'll be able to roll it out. I think it's because that butter just hardens up so quickly in the fridge that it's really hard to work with at first, but you should be able to roll it out after a few minutes. I laid my first one down in the bottom of the pan and then tossed in my apple mix. A lot of the apple juice has kind of been pulled out by the sugar at this point, so try to not dump it all in there or else you'll have an apple soup. And now with the top crust, instead of doing a bunch of like circles and squares like she had, all I could really find was a piping tip and this weird pill-shaped mold. I don't even know what this was from, but I'm gonna use it. The thing that I like about this is it's just limited to what you can find in the house or what you can buy in the store. Like any shape theoretically should work for this. Whatever you think will look the coolest. Whatever won't hopefully rip into pieces as I try to move it from the countertop on top of my pie. Thank the heavens it did not fall apart on me. And once I trimmed around the outside of the pie and brushed a little egg wash on the top, this one's ready to go, but I'm not gonna put it in the oven yet until I have my strawberry one prepared. So yeah, for this next one, I figured I'd try something that I've never made before, which is a strawberry pie. Last year I did blueberry, which ended up being really expensive. Who knew blueberries were so expensive? But for this recipe, I just followed a random one I found online. Basically consisted of water and cornstarch and sugar brought to a boil. I took some time to remove all of the stems. I chopped a bunch of strawberries in half. I want to say I ended up using 5 cups at the end of this, and of course you want to give them a wash to get any other dirt off of them. And apparently all you need to do is throw the strawberries in with this weird gelatinous mix at this point. It does have Jell-O as well, which is an arch nemesis of mine. I don't love anything involving Jell-O. But I just followed the recipe and I left the mix to the side while I rolled out the bottom crust once again and laid it in my second pie tray. I dumped in the strawberry mix, and now unlike the last pie, I'm gonna have a cover on the top of this to try to get the top as flat as possible for that mosaic pattern. And that's looking pretty much good. I'm hoping it doesn't seep down too much in the middle when it bakes. But I took all of my crust scraps and the little circles that I cut out from the last pie, and I dyed that all red using some gloves so I didn't have red fingers for the rest of the week. And now began the grueling process of, I want to say, 2 hours cutting out triangles and isosceles triangles and parallelograms and tried to piece together the top of my pie. This was not fun in the least bit. My pieces were even bigger, probably 2 or 3 times as large as the one from the Instagram picture. God knows how long it took her. I don't even want to know, because this took me a long time. But now that our 2 pies are complete, I tossed them both in a 400-degree oven. The strawberry pie is only going to get about 35 to 40 minutes. I took the foil off halfway through so the crust could get a little bit of a brown, but you do want to leave the apple pie in for at least an hour. As I pull them out, it's the moment of truth. The apple pie first. That is a yikes from me. You can't even really tell what the shapes were supposed to be. This is a really good, like, expectation versus reality. And now for the strawberry pie, which I took out of the oven earlier. Thankfully, this one looks a little bit better. The shapes kind of look decent still. Upon cutting into it, though, I realized we had some problems. This is probably the soupiest pie I've ever seen in my life. It looks more like a milkshake. I scooped some pieces onto my plate, and I guess we gotta give this a try now. Can we get a picture of what I was originally going for? And now cut back to this. Come on, man, that's not even funny. I mean, if it tastes good, who really cares? Like, these pies are for me and my family, so whatever. Honestly, it tastes great. That pie crust is like, it's impossible to mess up. It's so good. The apples are cooked well. They still have a little bit of a bite on the inside, which I like. The flavor's good, so, I mean, it's ugly, but it's a tasty ugly pie. And now for this disaster. Again, if it tastes good, I don't really care. I wouldn't bring it anywhere. I'd be embarrassed as all heck, but let's see. It tastes good to me. I don't know if anyone would eat that at the sight of that, especially with the weird red pie crust on top, but it tastes fine. Like I said last year, this video is not to show you a specific recipe, it's just to give you some more inspiration so it's not that typical pie crust on top that everyone uses. So I'd call it a semi-success. I do hope you guys enjoyed today's video though. If you did, give me a big like. Once again, my merch is in the top line of the description. My Twitter and Instagram are down there as well. New video for you Friday. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving to those of you who celebrate it. Other than that, I'll see you right back here next time. Peace! Well, that shit is not happening until 2 hours. It's too cold in our house. That's the problem. Do you know what trypophobia is? Well, you're gonna learn because my comments are about to be flooded with it. It's the irrational fear of a group of holes. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Me neither. There's like pictures of like groups of straws. And there's like
Whoa.
too many holes. Don't pretend like you have it now just because we're talking about
No,
it.
because when I was a kid, I used to have these weird dreams about like weird stuff like that.
Like plastic straws?
No,